Do you feel stuck in your own head? Or you feel your mindset's holding you back? Or even you wish you could go back to the feeling like you had a month ago, or a year ago, or even longer? If any of those resonate with you, then you are going to want to watch this video and learn the 3 phases to transform your mindset so you can get unstuck and build a new and stronger mindset. And to be clear, this video is applicable to everyone at some point because it's normal and it's okay to get stuck. We can't avoid challenges, pressures, and distractions in sport or life. Instead, what you want to learn to do is how to turn the tough moments into great growth opportunities where you keep evolving as a person and transforming your mindset to higher levels. I'm Dr. Cassie Preston, a mental performance coach for professional athletes, author of Mindset First, and keynote speaker for high performing teams and businesses. And today, I'm going to walk you through the 3 phases to transform your mindset. I've been using this concept with a lot of my one-on-one clients because of the simplicity, clarity, and the power it gives them. I've used it with a pro basketball player to snap them out of a scoring slump. I've used it with a collegiate athlete who had been in a tough situation, getting practically no playing time for about a year and a half. And not surprising, a real mental rut because of this. But she was able to turn it around completely within a matter of weeks, in a large part because of the concepts I'm going to share today. Also, I've had one of our coaches, Natasha, use it to help one of her clients overcome the yips, and many more examples, some that I'll share in more detail shortly. But the point I'm trying to make is make sure you watch the full video, take some notes, and give it a try because this stuff works. All right, so I'm going to go through 3 parts here, 3 lessons around the 3 phases. And the first is just highlighting what they are. And they're pretty simple. I'll give 2 quick examples. First, phase 1, things are great. Phase 2, things get tough. Adversity, pressure, expectations build. And then phase 3 is actually better than phase 1. It's when we grow from phase 2. Some examples to better understand it. Kobe. Kobe's a great NBA basketball player. Then there's all this personal stuff and things start to take a little bit of a downward turn. And what does he do? He intentionally and creates the Black Mamba. And the Black Mamba was his mindset. And he did that with my mentor, Todd Herman. It's an alter ego exercise. And the premise is because of that, he's better than he was in phase 1. And the premise here for you, and as you're reflecting, well, a lot of the mistakes is like, oh, wishing I could go back to phase 1. Now that's a mistake we're going to reinforce a couple times. It's not about trying to go backwards. You got to move forward. And a great example of that, which is now outside of sport, was a firefighter I've been working with. And when he started as a firefighter, he was great. He was fearless, right? And maybe a little reckless actually as a firefighter. And then in his career, all of a sudden, all kinds of things have come up. And the premise being a lot of challenges, seen some stuff, went through some personal challenges. And because of that, now he's starting to hesitate and doubt himself and not so, confident attacking and doing his job. And so the idea is, well, you can't go back to here. We can't undo what's going on in phase 2. But what we can do is be intentional and create and make the choice to go into phase 3. So this is the premise, and there's a bunch of important lessons to take out of this. So let's really break down the practical lessons here, starting with one I already highlighted. You can't focus on wanting to go back. It's not possible. We can't change what's happened. So that's living in a fairy tale world where you think you can just go back to the good old days and things are going to go back to the same. It won't. So stop chasing that. The second mistake and lesson is to stop resisting. I think that's a great word. Are we resisting and resenting and not embracing phase 2? So the opposite of resisting it is actually embracing it and seeing that it's part of the process. And the only way to get to phase 3 to transform your mindset is to accept it and go through it. The pro basketball player I was referring to was a great example. And he kind of really, it's like, oh, he's been fighting it. He's been fighting the slump. And so be like, all right, the slump is just part of the process. Stop fighting it. It's actually can serve me. I can grow from it. Now, there's another big thing to not do from a practical standpoint, and that's to identify. Right? If you identify with phase 2, it's like, this is who I am. I am now somebody that's always fearful, or I am somebody that will hesitates or doubts myself or beats myself up, or I can't do it. As long as you believe and you choose to identify with phase 2, you ain't going to phase 3. And there's no strategy or way to look at it that's going to hold you back more than if you identify here. And I'll give the example of the firefighter. He's like, oh, this is who I am now. Well, then There's nothing I can do to get him into phase three. He needs to instead, and what we've been doing is to identify, hey, this is where I am now. And yet in the past, I've had the tendency, or I've done this a lot lately and thought and operated this way, but you're starting to make that choice and that line in the sand. That's not who I am. I'm choosing to be over in phase three. And what really helps this and make it very clear is you want to have clarity on both sides. Let's be clear on who I'm not, who I'm not going to choose to be, and how I don't want to show up from a mindset standpoint, and how I do want to show up. Because as you just get that line in the sand stronger and stronger, now the awareness and the choice you now have becomes more and more obvious. And the other really cool practical piece to this is naming both sides. So on one side, you can create this cool name that summarizes the traits, the mindset. And again, this is when you go through the alter ego, and a big point of it is like the Black Mamba. And this name helps summarize and bring to life and gives a story to the traits. And it really simplifies it. And just as important, and sometimes even more important, is putting a name to who you don't want to be, how you don't want to show up to this mindset, because it can repulse you and you can make that name something that just gives you the ick. It's just, oh, like I just hate that, like being fake or being a scaredy cat or whatever it is for you. And again, then as you put that name that summarizes the traits and the mindset you don't want, it can push you away from that and make sure you go to the side and choose who you do want to be. And the last point from a practical standpoint, obviously we're using a 3-phase model because it's simple, but in reality, there's clearly phases 4, 5, 6, and so on. And so there's always other evolutions and opportunities to keep growing. Now, before we go to the last part, which might be the most important part, if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. And if you're interested in learning more about mental performance coaching, go to cpmindset.com. And if you want to check out my book, Mindset First, head to Amazon to order your copy today. All right, let's dive into the last part. Now you got a pretty good foundation of how to get unstuck from phase 2 and move into phase 3. But I want to talk about the results now. And this is important because you can have a phase 3 mindset, but does that mean you'll get phase 3 results? And hopefully you get it. No, you won't always get phase 3 results. Sometimes you get phase 2 results. That's part of life. That's part of sport. So the big mistake about this, and a lot of people can easily fall into, is we make the priority going from phase 2 results to phase 3. If this is your priority, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to get into phase 3 mindset. And why? Because you're resisting. Again, phase 2 results. You're like, oh no, it's bad. I got to get out of phase 2 and I got to get to phase 3. That's the whole funny paradox again. You prioritize results, you focus and resist phase 2, then you don't get into phase 3 mindset, and now you don't get phase 3 results. So the solution is to be mindset first. The whole premise of my book. And that's what these 3 phases are really about. Going to a phase 3 mindset. Well, instead of worrying about your results, your situation, and the outside world, we want to flip the script and focus on your mindset, on what phase you're in and your inside world. So by doing this, by making this the number one thing, it gives you both a sense of control and direction, which is why it's so simple and powerful. So the bottom line here is that you get to choose what is your priority, mindset or results. And when you choose mindset, the results will come, but you're not choosing it for that. You're choosing it because it feels better to be in phase 3 mindset. And remember, you don't have to play sports. So if you're going to play, which one are you going to choose? All right, that's it. When you get stuck in your head, remember the 3 phases to transform your mindset. Don't resist phase 2. Embrace it because you can't go back to phase 1. Make sure you're not identifying with phase 2 because if you do that, you're screwed. And instead, make the line in the sand and make it clear and choose to be in phase 3. And then don't fall in the trap of focusing on the results. Keep an inside out approach. Be mindset first. And even if you still get some phase 2 results, keep learning, growing, and moving forward. I hope you found this helpful. If so, like, subscribe, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you're interested in learning more about mental performance coaching, go to cpmindset.com. And if you want to check out my book, Mindset First, head to Amazon to order your copy today. Thanks for watching and stay mindset first.